What? Good YouTube and Twitch, we're live streaming right now with actual Bandless predictions, so Farfa can laugh at me this year. I haven't done actual Bandless predictions in a while. Usually I do a discussion based around them, so I wanted to pick some cards that chat was talking about, as well as myself, and go through them. Starting with Maxi. A lot of people think Maxi will peel off the list, most likely to 3 because 1 or 2 is toxic, and so either 0 or 3 are the same numbers because Crossout Designator is here, baby, in the Megatons. And my opinion on that is that I think Maxi will actually stay on the list. With the TCG, Konami likes to focus a lot on selling cards, and with cards like Ready Fusion, Maxi hurts that. Sword Soul Activate to generate a token, Maxi hurts that. Just having another counter doesn't make sense to me, because what happened when we got Called by the Grave? People argued Maxi would come back for that. No, Called by the Grave actually ended up on the list, and now Crossout Designator is ending up on the OCG list, and something we've learned from Sekka's Light is, even if a card could become healthy once again, Konami doesn't like moving things on and off and on and off the list, and if the counter is already getting limited in the OCG, it likely will eventually move the meter in the TCG, so I do not foresee the reasoning of, oh, a counter is here as the reason for Maxi to come off. I think it would come off independent on the list, and I'm just not feeling it at this time with Konami wanting to sell product. Another one people heavily want banned, including myself actually, is Imperial Order, but my guess is that it will not get banned and it will remain at 1. Here's why. Konami has not re-put on the ban list any errata card with the sake of that errata getting it off the ban list. Even if it becomes unhealthy for the game at this point, I feel like there's a tinge of pride of, oh, we fixed this card up, and it's still argued among the community if this is unfair or not. Why I think it's unfair is people are saying, oh, just play Nightmare Phoenix in your extra deck. Usually Imperial Order is stopping the cards that would bust a board, like Forbidden Droplet, like Dark Ruler No More, and then it's backed by actual negates that would stop that Nightmare Phoenix. It's not as simple as make Nightmare Phoenix 5-head. Now, these have been these cards are already here. They're gonna stay there, right? Let's talk about my first think of what is actually gonna get hit for Drytron. I think these hits are gonna be minimalistic, this list. It's not gonna be a huge, busting, wide open ban list. It's gonna be that range of 9 to 14 cards that they've been doing and playing it safe because this format's diverse and they feel diverse is healthy. So I think they'll double down on the hit to Ben 10 and actually ban this card rather than going for Beatrice, rather than going for Eva, because they've been printing a ton of light fairy generic support, and that kind of goes against Eva, so I think they'll just try banning Benton to see what happens with Drytron, and going along that meter, I think Dragoon actually does not get banned, despite the Team Samurai X1 crying thumbnail. Dragoon is really pricey, and I think Konami will cash in on Dragoon once again in some way, some shape, some form. I think they'll cash in on Dragoon before actually doing something to it, even though I would like this engine to get hit. And people say, what decks is it being played in? Drytron, one of the top decks. Glue will control with Red Eyes Fusion. That's why you hit any piece of this besides Dragoon or Red Eyes Fusion, Dragoon's still a problem. And then Verte, by that note, I think they want to sell Burst of Destiny, and they actually, you know, have the Destiny hero coming out and people want to preemptively hit that. No, they want to sell that set and sell that engine. So I think Verte and Dragoon are sticking around for a little bit, unfortunately. I do not think these will be hit. Like I said, I see minimalistic things happening, such as Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon just peeled to 2 in the OCG with the errata. I think the US usually hits a little faster and also doesn't like the semi-limit list as much, so I think this card will go to 3 in the TCG here. Despite the recent hits to Dragon Link, I think they'll feel like they gave something back, even though it has that errata. And could we please get a foil version of this card, by the way, Konami? Doing it in common when you actually had it on the packaging was such an injustice. But we're here for ban list talk. I think Tenki will skip past 2 in the TCG and go straight to 1. Again, even with that really nice use of the semi-limit list in the OCG lately, where we go, yes, this is actually how it should be done to reduce consistency and also take care of problems, I think Tenki will go straight to 1 in the TCG. And I also, despite the holo upgrade to Tri-Brigade Revolt, think this will be going to 1. A lot of people are saying, will this go and get hit, or will Shureg, because it's only as powerful as what you can make? No, Revolt reads very similar to a powered up different dimension card that's on the list. it goes for the banish and graveyard and gets you resources and helps you chain block certain cards within the chain and bringing back stuff. So I think that they'll end up putting Revolt to 1, the real power problem. And we've even seen stuff in the 10s like Nightmare Mermaid Prismatic then banned. So I'm not against hits from the 10s, and I could easily see this one going to 1, while they leave this at 3 for the backup plays in the actual extra deck. On that note of something in the 10s upgraded, a Schism got upgraded, and there's 2 problems in Shadows. This and then Wenda. Yet Wenda did not get printed in the Megatons where this got an upgrade, yet Construct's Alter Art got a nice secret rare. I have a feeling that might be a sign for your girl. She is the self-protecting walking floodgate, much like Colossus, which is on the list. And this card is the newer, more fun enabler for the deck. I have a fear that they're going to hit our girl Wenda to 0 while keeping Schism open as the option. Even though Schism made this a playable, splashable engine, the engine then becomes not as toxic, and the self-protecting floodgate ends up on the list, and I don't really want that to happen. Speaking of this, I think it stays at 0, even though I'd kind of like to see the Eternal format peel off. Same with our boy Orcus Harpur. We finally get Girsu in Ultra. He is indeed in the 10s. This would, in theory, help sell the 10s, and I'd like to see it at 1, but Babel is still out there fully. Orcus is very powerful from that format, so is this. Now, speaking of another thing I think will happen on the list, I think Zeus will go to 1 despite its 10 printing. At 1, it is still a player in the game. The OCG recently made this move, and I could easily see it still being very powerful for Xyz decks, and it just takes care of problems like Zodiac making multiple of these, or just being able to attack with a Zeus that has a material and stacking another Zeus on top when he's lived, thanks to his own effect and stopping that from being a problem. I think it will get taken care of. Now, we do say that hits can happen even with 10 reprints. I don't think they'll right away hit the Dogmatica engine. I think as much as people think this is a power card that does all these extra things, and you're right on that, it's basically a Rhoda that nets advantage within the archetype, I feel like Konami sees it as a selling point of the 10s rather than an afterthought or something to balance, and I think we'll still see this engine fully powered for a little bit. So I do not see a hit to Nadir Servant, and maybe if there is another ban around the deck that's not direct to the deck, I'm not seeing it right now because you have that all-boss structure deck on the far horizon too, and they're going to continue updating this lore archetype, etc. I just don't feel a hit coming for this yet. And then, finally, Prank Kids. I think they might hit Meow Meow to 1. It wasn't in the 10s. Prank Kids has been really overperforming. 1 does do a hit to the deck. I also thought maybe they would ban or 1 doodle do. Ban seems almost harsh, or maybe hit something like Roxy's or one of the Prank Kids to 1. I don't really know how to approach the deck the best. I think that's something for Pac to go over as he has. But Meow Meow to 1 does make a bit of sense. It still leaves them with a brand new play from more recent history, yet also limits the actions of the play. So, yep, there's Farfa's face in chat. He'll probably be laughing at these predictions at some point when the actual ban list hits, but here's my big Galactic Brain 5-head theory. I think we get a more minimalistic list with some touch-ups. I think a lot of the things that people want to move off the list won't necessarily be happening. I do think some Pendulum things could peel off and continue to peel off, especially with Duel Links getting Pendulums too, to help people reintroduce them to the game, but the TCG seems to have a real hate for Pendulums, unfortunately, and continues to choke out and restrict them when stuff like Joker at 3 would be fine, or different kinds of moves. I just don't see them necessarily helping the Pen deck, even though I would like for them to. Thanks for watching today's video. Thank you if you were here live in the chat to add to the discussion, agreeing or disagreeing with me. You're a combo player with your spelled wrong. You only want cards to help non-combo decks compete. No, wrong. If anything, I would like Red Reboot at 0, and its placement at 1 is a turn-long floodgate. I don't like that it shuts off things. I've stated I love the grind game. I am for the grind game. Strikers I don't like because they actually mess with time with the direct hits, but I think the grind game is a huge part of Yu-Gi-Oh! Right now, and is really impressive. Notice I'm not saying Eldritch hits, knowing that it'll probably be reprinted in Gold Series. Notice I'm not criticizing a ton of grind game states. I'm not just a combo player that wants combo hits. Oh, also one that we almost missed. Mystic Mine, I predict it'll get banned if it'll actually get Konami to do it. Please ban Mystic Mine. Thank you, just like the OCG. I would love to see that card taken out back, and Old Yellard. Well, in the entire conversation on that point, because guess what actually gets to use this the best? Are dinosaurs a combo deck? Yeah, they're actually an OTK combo deck if you think about it. People don't call them a combo deck even though they combo because it's so aggressive. But they benefit the most when their combo fails and they just slap Mystic Mine on. That's how they're the last win for a in-person YCS. So yeah, let's actually hurt the floodgates as well a little more, shall we?